In a nation divided, how do we unite and agree to disagree civilly?
Well, two former Tennessee governors say it starts with listening and living out the words of a great Tennessee statesman.
You could call it their next chapter. Two former mayors turned Tennessee governors, now hosts of a podcast.
And what you're saying is you're just wrong. That's not what the data shows.
Exactly.
I've had a Howard Baker moment here, I think.
They may find themselves on opposite sides of the table and political aisle, but Bill Haslam, a Republican, and Phil Bredesen, a Democrat, have a shared mission to spark civil conversations in today's politically charged climate.
And so I thought if we could have some environment where people could hear the other side thoughtfully presented, then maybe some of the polarization might start diminishing.
And he called me up one day and just said, I've got this idea and so on. And it's one of those things you say, I should have thought of that myself.
The experiment, as they first called it, is wrapping up its second season. It delves into topics that are talkers these days, from charter schools to climate change.
The environment and climate itself used to be a fully bipartisan issue.
We have, as a society, got to set aside ideology and focus on practicality.
That's former Vice President Al Gore and the head of TVA, Jeff Lyash, sharing their takes on whether the U.S. is acting fast enough.
I think one of the things we've lost a bit in this country is the ability to have discussions about these things, knowing that you're not going to agree on it, but it helps to understand where the other person is coming from and see it as a genuine difference of opinion and not some character flaw in the other person.
The title of their podcast is You Might Be Right, a familiar saying pulled from a beloved and respected Tennessee statesman, the late Howard Baker.
But you've got to have, along with it, a decent respect for the other fellow's point of view. There is a bare chance that he may be right.
That he had this humility about him. He had this respect for other people's views and this feeling that you might be right.
What did the president know, and when did he know it?
The Republican senator rose to prominence during Watergate. He was also the White House chief of staff during the Reagan administration and served as U.S. ambassador to Japan. Known for extending his arm in compromise, Baker gained the moniker the Great Conciliator. It was never more evident than at his funeral in 2014. Lawmakers past and present, Republican and Democrat, packed the First Presbyterian Church in Huntsville.
And I was so struck when I went in there how many senators and former senators were there. And it was about even Republican Democrats. I literally sat between then Vice President Joe Biden and Senator Al Gore.
Given the public discourse on air, online, and in person, these two current-day statesmen acknowledge a weariness among Americans. But they offer a solution: listen and vote.
First of all, engage in the electoral process. Second, look for people who actually have a resume of solving problems. It's not just about who has the best rhetoric out there, who can yell the loudest from their soapbox.
I also look for people in office who I think have something they believe in that they'd be willing to give up the office for.
We're different people with different perspectives on several issues, but I think what we agree on the most is this stuff matters.
These former politicians with differing political views are counting on these civil conversations to navigate the nation through turbulent times. And they do have hope, once again drawing from the words of Howard Baker.
You got to remember, he was a key player in Watergate, one of those crisis moments in the country. And besides the other fellow might be right, his other saying was, the Republic will survive.
And you can listen to more of my interview with Governors Bredesen and Haslam right now on the WBIR YouTube channel and also this Sunday morning at 9:30 on Inside Tennessee.
We're going to